Hello everyone, this is the guy that actually reads his YouTube comment section as well as his Discord server suggestion corner, and welcome to this AFK journey video. So I do actually read the comments and I also read all the suggestions provided to me. So if you guys have any videos ideas, whether or not it's with regards to AFK journey or with regards to other games that you guys might want me to cover or just take a look at it, do let me know down in my comment section below as usual, as well as drop the suggestions within my Discord server. Then I'll definitely go take a look at those stuff that you guys want me to cover. So that's for the disclaimer part. Now let us move on to today's video topic, which is free-to-play friendly PvE team recommendations, or just giving you guys a top 4 or 5 free-to-play friendly PvE teams. So this video idea is suggested by Soulbuster. I did cover quite a few PvE teams, but for today's video I'll do something different. Number one, I will be excluding all the Celestial Hypogean units since it's a free-to-play friendly team guide. I'm just going to include, I'll say, units which are generally more accessible, which is definitely not the Celestial Hypogean unit. So that's number one. Number two, I will be showcasing the team together with the fights with my own account, so this way you guys can see that this team actually works even at my level, which is AFK stage 1000 plus. So you guys know that this team, they are free to play friendly and they do actually work. So with those disclaimer out of the way, let us first start with the very first team, and that is none other than my favorite units team, which is the Cecia team. Or more specifically, I won't call this the Cecia team. I'll call it like more of a Graveborn team right now, because this team was presented in my Ludovic video as well as talked about. We made Cecia great again, so I'll link this team in the card above. So this team is basically Ludovic as well as all the other Graveborn units, and for the very last slot you can change out the units accordingly. You can obviously put in the stronger support, which is Smokey, which is probably a second win condition. This is the easiest way to make the team strong, because you have control from the back lines, you have damage from the back line, and then you have sustain in the two supports, you have a tank in the front line, which is Torrent, and then you have Smokey as a secondary win condition. So this is definitely one idea that you guys can use. But then, since this is a Graveborn team, we'll try to use non-Smokey methods, right? Or we try to use like Graveborn units more in general. Another unit which could make a good team with this setup is Rowan, because Rowan speeds up all the skill usage, which is extremely beneficial in the case of our dear Cecia over here. You can obviously use the likes of Igor as well if your opponent has Vala, or any targeting skill, so that Igor can take it and then cause a nuisance to the enemy. You can also use the likes of other supports like Coco, or the likes of Hewin, or even the likes of Damien for the team itself, so as to give your team more heal, more sustain, so that your carries like Carolina as well as Cecia can survive longer to wreak havoc. So in this case, looking at the enemy itself, they have quite a bit of burst in terms of the archers itself, and I probably need more sustain for the team. So for this showcase, I'll be using Hewin instead, and I'll be using my strongest artifact, which is Evocation spell, to showcase it. So I'll run it on manual, so you guys can see the targeting as well as how this team can work, because I think at the later stages there will be a lot of very specific situations where you need to target your skills at specific units to prevent them from doing anything. So right there, Ludovic died unfortunately. Okay, I think I have to reset this because I think my skills need to come out a little bit faster. So we'll use Cascade spell. Okay, so right here, Cecia will get her ultimate faster. We'll go at 2 times, so Cecia's ultimate comes online faster. And we're going to throw Cecia's ultimate into the back line. Okay. So Hewin's ultimate is going to come online, and that will keep my unit safe. Okay, Cassidy's ultimate comes through. Okay, now I think I'm gonna use the ultimate on Cassidy to just control her in place, because Cassidy is quite impactful in the enemy's team, at least from what I can tell. So right here, we're gonna put Cecia's ultimate. Okay, I'm gonna keep Cecia's ultimate to cancel the animation of. Oh shit, Cecia got. Oh my god, there is a massive energy reduction from the frontline enemy. So I think I'll just cast Cecia's ultimate on auto, because like I can't hold it because the frontline enemy just eats up my energy just now, as you guys can see. So right here, we go at 2 times. So to showcase that we can work with this team. So this is the very first free-to-play friendly team that you guys can use where you don't have the Celestial Hypogean unit. So this is the damage distribution for this team. And as you guys can see, our damage comes from both Carolina as well as Cecia. But at the same time, this team has a few advantages and disadvantages. Number one, the advantage is this team is a hybrid team. So it's actually particularly good against enemies which are immune to either side of the damage. So if the enemies are good against magical damage dealers, you have Cecia as the secondary damage to do physical damage to them. And then if you have enemies that are physically immune or physically defensive, then you have Carolina to do magical damage to them. And this team is also pretty okay for most stages because with sustain, with control, as well as very powerful retaliate damage coming out from Torrent, this team pretty much still works even at the later stages, which is where I am right now. So it is quite a viable team for the early game all the way to the late game, but the weakness is also very clear because Cecia is not exactly like a super duper powerful damage dealer. So if you are in stages where enemies have a lot of heal, has a lot of sustain, or is just immune to control in general, then this team might not be as strong. Carolina as a unit is very powerful, very good damage dealer, but if you're talking about damage, she will definitely fit in better into the Eironn-Carolina team, which I'll talk about later, rather than this team. So this team is the Graveborn centric team, relying on a sustained power of Ludovic as well as one more unit, and then on the control and damage potential on Carolina as well as Cecia. So let us move on to the next team setup. Okay, so the second team I want to showcase is the full Maulers team. So the full Maulers team, I think I talked about it in the Song of Strife season PvE teams itself. So this team remains relatively powerful because this team has 3 of the most powerful core units in the game, which is OD, Smokey, as well as Coco. So these units, they are very versatile, used in Dream Realm, heavily invested by a lot of people. So if you don't have Lumon or Brutus on the front line, it's fine. You can use Antandra for just additional tank, and then you can use another generic tank like Torrent and Danny, which are, I'll say, like more invested by most free-to-play players anyway. So then Danny will be the control and frontliner, but for this case, to fit more into the Mauler team and to give my team a little bit more stats, I'm using the full Mauler variant. So without further ado, let me just adjust the level for OD a little bit because I have some 810. So let's put OD here, and then let's put our Rhino boy here. So I'll just run it at auto to showcase the autobility of this team. Okay, so I don't know whether or not autobility is a word, but I like my teams to be auto friendly, so that you can just put the game on AFK and then you go do other stuff while actually playing the game to fit into the AFK team, which is something I mentioned multiple times, which I enjoy about the game. so this is a very auto friendly team as well, although you might want to target OD's poison as much as possible. And for this team, because I try to avoid Eironn, because Eironn and Smokey is part of the Smokey team itself, so if I do that, then it will be more of a Smokey carry team. But I want to showcase the power of the other Mauler unit, or more specifically Coco as well as OD a little bit more, because Coco gives that massive damage reduction which keeps your team healthy, and then OD is the insta killer for the team. So that's what I want to showcase, and that's why I'm not putting the Wilder side. So I will talk about the Wilders team later, so you guys can have a glance at that variance, right? So this is the Mauler team. Let's take a look at the damage distribution. So for this one, as you guys can see, main carry OD, very powerful, and then control is Lumon. So this slot can be Danny, obviously, for the frontline control. This slot can also be additional damage as well. You can use other AoE damage dealer like Arden, or maybe even Shakir. If you have Shakir highly invested, then the 3 cores are these 3 units over here. So that's the Mauler team, and let us move on to the next team. Okay, so this very next team that I'm going to showcase is one that revolves around the Almas, Eironn, as well as Temesia chain combo. So this team is actually really powerful because you have the Almas synergy with Eironn, you also have the Almas synergy together with Temesia over here. So on top of that, if you're using the evocation spell, you actually have the life drain buff, which gives you some sort of life drain, but you can obviously add in some of the more powerful healers into the team, such as Damien together with Hewin. So this is going to be pretty Wilder centric, but you can obviously put in other units, right, if you need more damage, like for example Parisa. right? So Parasite is a pretty powerful unit here. You can obviously use Light Bearer, Faye, and even Rowan, but I'll just use Rowan to make this more Light Bearer centric, and I'm gonna just put in Cassidy to just show you guys that this team actually works. This team works, okay? So this is the team setup. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. The core of this team is basically on the control element of both Almas as well as Temesia. But it turns out to work really, really well, by the way. Like, these three are the core units. So Temesia tramples on everything that our dear Eironn puts into position. So right here, I think my position is a little bit bad. So my Eironn is stuck at the corner. If not, there will be more damage. Okay, so I think I have to reposition this, but yeah, I'll show you a few stages with this team. But this team is hilarious because it works. Okay, we're gonna put our dear... Okay, we're gonna put Cassidy behind so she doesn't block anyone. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, so Eironn's gonna pull everyone together. Okay, wait, the positioning is really bad. Why is my Eironn getting blocked consistently? Okay, we're gonna put Eironn at the back so that the Almas will rush out after Eironn is done with the ultimate. Okay, so all the melee unit will rush to the front line, and then that's where we will be able to see all the units chained up together, and then you get all the stunning and controlling and putting them all together, and then you guys will see the synergy of the root as well as the stun as well as the mini stun. So with regards to the substitution units, I'll say you can obviously take out Rowan and Cassidy for the Wilders faction if you are already invested in them. Huey and Damien makes excellent substitutes, and you can obviously put in more firepower if your team is lacking in terms of damage. But this team is legit off that chain stunning, as you guys can see. The enemies are just getting locked in place with Almas, and honestly speaking, right, ever since I went for Almas to Supreme Plus, he has been amazing me in various different aspects. Not just with the Eironn Almas combo, but with the potential synergy with other units. So this team's weakness is also very clear-cut. Your frontliners, which are the disruptors, they have to survive so that you can keep this control and damage dealing going. So I'm just going to showcase another match to just showcase the power of this team. So this is definitely not a fluke team, by the way. This is a very, very legit combo with Almas, Temesia, and Eironn, because Eironn pulls everyone together. So they're all in trample range of our dear Temesia, and at the same time, if Temesia gets up enough ultimate, Temesia is a menace in terms of the frontlining as well as damage dealing, because you cannot control her and then she can heal herself. So this is one setup where I think you probably need more healing because the enemies hits like a truck. So for this one, I will probably use the more standard Wilders units for the sustain. Okay, so the core doesn't change, but this team we need more sustain, so I'm using Huey and Damien, so that we have enough sustain for our frontliners. Okay, but yeah, this team is really, really hilarious because I saw it in one of the replays. I'm like, wait, Temesia actually works with Almas. So I decided to pick it up myself, and I realized that it's actually a decently usable team. And it's a very, I'll say, auto-friendly team because Temesia just becomes super duper annoying, and Eiron's ability to pull everyone together so she can step on everyone whenever she runs past is insane. And you guys can see, she gets the immunity as well as HP drain. And on top of that, she has her own defense reduction, which just does a lot of damage on her own, like without any physical buffer. So if you need more damage, you can even input Laika, right, for the additional physical damage reduction so that your Temesia hits a little bit harder. But Eironn pulling everyone so that Temesia can trample on them is just insane. So you guys can see the power of this synergy right here. And if you guys think that, hey, this Zip guy is just overpowered, I'm just gonna do it for maybe 1 or 2 more runs, okay, to just showcase the power of this team. It's oddly satisfying to see this horse lady working, but it's just possible because of this Eironn Almas combo, and Temesia just working really well with Eironn grouping everyone together, as well as Almas providing the additional support. Because you guys can see, when you group everyone together, Temesia just hits on everyone, and then she's just gonna hit everyone and disrupt everyone, and just tanking out on the front line. So it's just crazy to see Temesia working from the PvE sense. But this is definitely one team that you guys can try if you guys have invested in Temesia like I do. But I'm just gonna let it run for 1 more round so that you guys can see the power of this team, right? It is hilarious, but it's working. So this is probably one of the, I would say, like, more creative team ideas I've seen, and I'm sharing it with you guys. Okay, so this is the Temesia Eironn Almost Core. Okay, so one more match so that you guys can see the power. I'm not blowing. This is a very auto-friendly team. So I've been experimenting with quite a few auto-friendly teams to make my AFK stage pushing a little bit more relaxed. And this is one team which I find a lot of fun using recently. Yeah, very, very funny team, but it just works. I don't know why, it just works. Because for me, right, I think for this team itself, they have a lot of control that are just very short-lived but very, very disruptive. For example, like Temesia, right, with Eironn, and then you just add on that additional second of control coming out from Almost. It just makes it such that, hey, suddenly this very annoying mini control become very disruptive control that just buys you a lot of time. And then you combine the fact that, you know, you get more damage off Temesia by grouping everyone together with the additional damage from Almost, as well as all the buff that Temesia can get. It makes her a pretty decent damage dealer in the team. Yeah, not gonna lie. One more match for you guys just to showcase the power of this team. Very, very funny team, but I absolutely love it. Okay, I actually love making units that don't see use in PvE work. So this team might be a little bit challenging, but we shall see whether or not we can clear, because we have the teleporting flower. But this team is, Temesia is actually insane against the teleporting flower as well, because she becomes immune after using her ultimate for a fixed period of time. So right here, as you guys can see, this lifting gets a little bit annoying. But Temesia is charging in, right? She's going to get her immune, the golden body, that's the control immunity. And then she's going to be very, very disruptive because she's always going to be on the front line. Okay, so she gets lifted, unfortunately. Going to get the, please get the immunity fast, please, so that they can't lift her. Okay, so running around, disrupting everyone. Okay, Almost stunning the frontliner. Okay, we got the immunity on Temesia. So she's able to continuously step on the enemy while not being able to be controlled. So this is where the flowers, right, they can't control her and they are getting damaged by her. So now I think I am lacking a little bit of damage for this one. Let's hope we have enough damage. So can Temesia catch up in terms of damage to finish off the flowers in the last few seconds? Yes, I think we can. Can we? Yes, we did it. We did it with 2 seconds left. So this team is definitely not a fluke. I'm going to stop there so that we can cover more teams. So this is the final damage distribution, which is the Temesia-Control Team, right? I'll call it. Okay, so that's it. Let's move on to the next team showcase. Okay, so this fourth team right here needs no introduction because they are your Eironn, Arden, and Carolina team. Very, very powerful AoE damage, very, very powerful control, and a lot of damage, okay, from this team. So I'm just going to showcase the team. This team, I'll say if you invest in it, it is probably the second or the third strongest team right now. So the last team which I'm going to introduce is currently the strongest PvE deficit pusher, as well as the strongest team, and it is the more free-to-play friendly variant of that specific archetype, which is a Smokey team, which I'm going to showcase later. Actually, I showed it in the Lumon video, but I'm just going to show it how to operate it. This team, it is probably the second or third, because I think second one could be Scalita, which is a celestial one, which I'm not going to cover in today's video. And yeah, I guess that's it, right? So this is probably the second or third strongest team in terms of general AFK stage push. So the core of this team is definitely your backline damage dealers, because these two units, they hit very, very hard. Eironn with just EX weapon up is more than sufficient, but I think if you want to keep Eironn alive to be more disruptive, then you probably need more stats on him. So this is the damage distribution. Carolina is the main damage dealer. Arden is the additional support as well as additional AoE damage. So that is the Eironn, Carolina, as well as Eironn-Caro Team. Okay, so this is the strongest free-to-play viable PvE team. In fact, the strongest PvE team in the game. It is one of the most manual intensive team, because depending on how you control your unit, as well as your positioning or even the enemy lineup, it can change a lot of things. But right, this team has proven to be one of the strongest PvE pushing team, and it is also very free-to-play friendly because there's no Celestial Hypogean unit, and most of these units are either commonly invested units or units which you guys can obtain from the arena slot. For example, like Lumon, right? For Armor's case, it's a relatively new unit. It's an A rank, so you might actually need to get Armors to EX Weapon 10 for that additional control. So the team idea is very straightforward. Get to Smokey's ultimate ASAP, therefore you have Rowan, therefore you have Cascade Spell, and then you just have that 3 control units to just pull and reposition enemy. So without further ado, I'm gonna showcase it, right? It's a very manual intensive team. I don't usually like it because it's a bit too manual for me. So sometimes you have to start by manualing because Eironn pulls everyone away. So right here we're gonna do this. So I pull everyone inwards. So we're gonna manual Lumon, and I think I don't need the manual Armors for this one. Yeah, it's fine. Because against these enemies, their damage output is really high. So any form of control is gonna be quite game changing for them. Oh, wait, why did my Eironn's ultimate go through? So there's one reason why I don't like this team. Yeah, okay, my frontliner got melted. Well, it's good news because the enemies are stuck in place and they're all within Smokey's cloud, so we should be able to burn them down there, I guess. So yeah. Okay, we did it. So I don't think this team needs much introduction, right? This is the Smokey team, as you guys can see. So that's pretty much it. This is the strongest free-to-play PvE pushing team. Heck, even the strongest PvE team in the meta right now. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do let me know down in the comment section what you guys want to see for the next video. And as usual, remember to like and subscribe to see more from the channel. And I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!